If there is one thing that I get asked over and over and over and over again, and I know this from my own personal experience, it is, why does it feel so hard to change my thoughts and my thinking? Why does it feel so hard to think a better thought, especially when you're in one of those negative loops and it feels, or it can feel, impossible? I can totally relate to this question. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I am a medical intuitive and manifestation coach. And the intention behind my channel is to share all the tools and techniques that I have come across that have helped me to transform my life. One of the main reasons it feels so difficult to change your thoughts is because you're literally restructuring your brain. When you think new thoughts, or when you're learning something, have you ever been in a seminar and you come home and you're like literally exhausted? It's because you're building new neural pathways in the brain. And if you've been thinking the same thought over and over and over again, consciously or unconsciously, something like, one of the biggest ones that I see with my clients is, I'm not worthy. And if you've had that thought pattern or thought loop going on for a very, very long time, it's like this 6-lane freeway in your brain. And so the minute that you want to start thinking a new thought, it's like when you go into the forest and you walk somewhere where there's not a path. So if you kind of turn around, you can see that you've walked there, but the grass is still there, or the bushes are still there. You literally have to walk back and forth, weeks and weeks and weeks to create that pathway. It's literally the same as what's going on in the brain. And I read somewhere that any information that you learn, if you don't keep returning to that information, you almost lose it within 48 hours. However, here is something that I have seen for myself and with my clients. When there is a strong emotion attached to it, it tends to get ingrained into the subconscious much, much, much faster. Our mind is very much like this wild Brumby that's just been running around. For me, it was like it'd been running around for 30 years. And all of a sudden, you want to catch it and train it and take control of it. So if you catch a wild Brumby running out in the field, you can't train it overnight. There's this process that you go through where you have to calm it and get in control of it. I don't even know how they train Brumbies, but I've seen it on movies where they, after weeks and weeks and weeks, the Brumby is at a place where you can actually get on and ride it, and it's calm and you can approach it in some way. So when it comes to your mind, we are in this time and space where we're so used to things happening overnight. If I order something on Amazon, it literally shows up at my door the next day. If I need some sort of information, I go on to Google. So we're almost used to things happening immediately, and that's why the process can feel, the word that's coming in is torturous, because there is patience that is involved and consistency and doing it over and over and over again. But it is so worthwhile. Obviously, I don't wake up in the morning anymore and I'm thinking about my toxic relationships. I am thinking about how I can expand. I'm thinking about whose lives I can impact, how I can impact them. I'm thinking about what I want to manifest. I'm thinking about what I want to create. And I'm not actually a vibrational match to get stuck in old negative loops. And bear with me, because I know if I had been hearing this information, like even 5 years ago, I would have been like, yes, but, because I know it feels fucking impossible. I've been there a million times over. So patience, number one. Know that it is possible. Know that you are restructuring your brain. Know that consistency is the main thing. I used to get caught up because I was like, oh, I just thought a negative thought. Now I've, lowered my vibration. Now my manifestation is not going to turn up. And when you listen to a lot of thought leaders and a lot of people teaching this work, I used to get confused because I was thinking like, oh, now I have to repress that thought. But then I got to a place where I didn't want to repress it. And remember, the thoughts are coming up from these old beliefs. So here is how I do it. Again, take what works for you, and leave the rest. But here is what I found works really well for me. If I have a negative thought that comes up, I get curious about it. I don't try and push it down. I don't shame myself. I don't judge myself. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Where is that thought coming from? So the first phase for me is always acknowledging it. Oh, I just had this negative thought come into my mind, because it's always coming from somewhere. Where is it coming from? Show me the absolute root cause. Show me what belief is creating this thought. And because the thought, if you think about it, is like this weed that kind of just pops up in the middle of your beautiful grass. And if you just keep mowing over the weed, it's just going to kind of keep popping up. So if you can get down to the root and the reason that the thought keeps coming up, it's easier to, think better feeling thoughts, to think more positive thoughts. I don't know why this example is coming in, but I'm just going to use it. So if you see somebody, if you're on a weight loss journey and you see somebody who's very thin because they work out, or that's just their natural body type, and the first thought that comes up for you is, oh, what a bitch, I bet she can eat whatever she wants. It's probably not you thinking that, it's coming of some sort of insecurity. And it's coming back to the thought, okay, you have seen somebody that has what you want. So let's bring up jealousy, let's bring up insecurity. But what is underneath all of that? And it could be the belief that it's available to her and it's not available to me. Or my life's a struggle and her life is easy. And when you ask yourself, like, okay, where did that actual belief begin? It could have begun in your childhood. Because, logically, if somebody has what you want and you celebrate them, the chance of you getting that the percentage is higher. If somebody has what you want and you kind of diss them, it's going to take you longer to get there. So whenever I see anybody that has what I want, I'm like, oh my God, thank you for showing me that that's possible. When I was manifesting my Range Rover, I ended up with another car, but every time I saw a Range Rover, I'd be like, oh my God, they're driving my car. Thank you for showing me it's possible. And it was retraining my brain to know that that was possible. If every time a Range Rover drove past and I said, oh, what a bitch, why does she get to have that car? This is so unfair. Okay, there are the thoughts that are coming up, but they're coming from a belief. So it is in my highest and best interest to get curious and wonder what belief is creating these thoughts. So acknowledgement and curiosity is always my first step. The second thing that I teach my clients is choose another thought, because when you start choosing another thought, you're putting yourself back in control. You're the one training the Brumby. And I will say to myself, this thought is not serving me. This thought is not in alignment with where I'm going. This thought is, not benefiting me in any way. So I'm going to choose a better feeling thought. I'm going to choose a better feeling thought. One of my affirmations for a very, very long time was, I have a wonderful business in a wonderful way, and I provide wonderful service for a wonderful pay. I have a wonderful business in a wonderful way, and I provide a wonderful service for a wonderful pay. And I got that from the book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. I put myself to the test for a whole week. And anytime I had the thought that my business wasn't working, or the clients weren't showing up, or this was a one-off, anything like that, I just observed the thought, got curious, looked where it was coming from, healed the belief. Or that's if you, want to do the full program. Or I just said, okay, that's an interesting thought. It's not serving me right now. Here's what I'm choosing to think. I have a wonderful business in a wonderful way, and it provides a wonderful service that I provide a wonderful service for a wonderful pay. I put myself to the test. I did this for an entire week and it was fucking difficult. It was so difficult. I am not going to sell you bullshit. It was really difficult. And I was walking my dog and I was, or if I was in the elevator. The thing is, when I made a conscious decision to just have this thought towards my business, a positive feeling thought, I became more aware of the negative thoughts that were running wild in my mind. And the best thing was, literally after a week, things went crazy in my business, like literally crazy. Like everything lined up with this thing that I was telling myself over and over and over and over and over and over again. It is like if you had to start paying attention to your breath to make sure you're breathing correctly. It feels like it takes a lot of energy, but it gets easier because again, it's a muscle and you're retraining it and you're coming full circle. You're getting back in charge of things. I hope this helps. I hope this gives you a better understanding. The other thing that I want to discuss is because people are like, where do all these thoughts come from? Like we have this mind and it feels like sometimes it makes sense, but sometimes it's confusing. But 1 minute's telling me to do this, and 1 minute's telling me to do that. Yes, and the reason that is because we've given our mind so many jobs to do. You have told your mind, don't let me get humiliated. Don't let anybody break my heart. Don't let that happen again. Don't let me forget so-and-so's name. And so you literally wake up in the morning and it's like, oh, I'm going to wear this pink t-shirt to my job as a lawyer, even though everybody's wearing black and gray. My intuition, this is who I am, this is my true self, pink t-shirt. And then your mind is like, oh my god, do you remember in the 4th grade when everybody laughed at you when you wore that pink t-shirt? Don't wear that pink t-shirt, do not wear it. And all the information that we're getting from our brain, it's trying to help us avoid feeling a particular way. Always. Every single thing that we do or don't do, it's to avoid feeling a particular way. And it could be to avoid rejection, embarrassment, pain, shame, guilt, whatever it is. And the mind is, because it has all of these memories, it has all these programs, it has all of these things that you've told it to do over the last couple of years. So it's always trying to keep you safe. You are designed to survive. You are not designed to thrive. And people always ask me, like, how do I know the difference between my intuition and what my mind is telling me? And it's very, very easy because your mind is always giving you scenarios. It's like, hitting call back in 4 hours, so he's definitely out with another girl, and they're eating frog gras, and they're in this 5-star restaurant, and it's going to be all over the place. Your mind is all over the place because it's like if your boyfriend doesn't call for 4 hours or whatever, and then it's like, oh, remember that time that, your parents abandoned you, or remember that time your boyfriend didn't call and it was because he was out cheating, remember? So it starts pulling up all of that information, and that's why it starts feeding you all of these scenarios from these old programs. The intuitive mind doesn't explain itself. It just points the way. And it's very much like, once I lost my iPhone, it was actually in the coffee shop, and my intuitive mind was just saying, go and have a coffee. And I was like, yes, but I've lost my phone and I need to find it. And I literally had these conversations when I'm at home by myself. And then the intuitive mind was just like, go and have a coffee. And I was like, what are you talking about? I have a meeting in 10 minutes. And the intuitive mind was like, just go and have a coffee. Okay, I know what you're asking me, and I asked myself the same thing. Why didn't it just tell you the phone is in the coffee shop? And it's more about being symbolic. So it would be symbolic of me to go and have a coffee, and then I would find my phone. I actually want to be able to answer that better, and I can't right now. But as soon as I can, I will be sharing it with you, because it still is one of the questions I ask myself. Why didn't it just tell me, like, go, my phone is at the coffee shop? But it just remained true. It remained true. It didn't waver. Just said, just go and have a coffee. Just go and have a coffee. And it didn't have to explain itself. I really, really, really hope that helps, because this is something that took me a long time to kind of understand. The mind is very up and down. The intuition is very straight. So there is a little bit of information on the mind, because we all hear, like, change your thoughts to change your life, change your brain, change your life, change your beliefs, change your life. But know that when it comes to changing your thoughts are coming from a belief. They're coming off something that is deeper. And when you get curious about that, it gives you the opportunity to heal that. Please don't judge yourself. We were never given an instruction manual when we landed. We're all kind of having this human journey, and this is all part of it. It's rediscovering all of these types of things. So, okay, my guides want me to riff on affirmations. And when it comes to an affirmation, choose, I think Abraham Hicks actually always says this, choose a better feeling thought. So if your thought is, oh, I can't heal, I'm never going to heal, it works for everybody else, it doesn't work for me, it's taking so long, all of these thoughts are really lowering your vibration. And again, I know when you're having these thoughts, they feel so freaking real. They always feel so freaking real in the moment. But it's, again, these are not serving me, and I'm going to choose to think a better feeling thought. You can say, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed. If you can get behind it, go with it. If it feels like it's too far away, start with, I'm committed to healing my body. I'm committed to doing whatever it takes to heal my body. I'm committed to being the best version of myself. Choose something that you can get behind that feels better. And there is a lot of mixed messages and confusion when it comes to manifestation, because people say, you know, aren't you supposed to think in present tense? Aren't you supposed to talk like it's already happened? Are you supposed to be committing to it? Are you supposed to be acting with certainty? Do what feels good for you. Do what you can get behind, and you're always going to receive the guidance to get to where you're going. You know, the universe wants to see you win. It actually wants to see you kick ass and have an amazing life. It doesn't want to see you struggle. So always choose, go with where you're at. Because remember, when people are teaching different things, sometimes they're teaching from where they're at. So maybe like 5 or 10 years before, they were doing it a little bit differently, and now, because they've been doing it for so long, their tools and the techniques have changed. This is something you just need to kind of be mindful of. I know when I started out on my journey that obviously I didn't know who I was, I didn't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So when somebody who was kicking ass at life and having a really great time, when they said something, you know, I took that as being so true. And it was true, but it wasn't true for my vibration at the time. So again, always take what works for you at the time. And even if it's coming from somebody who is like, you know, loving their life, doing amazing at life, it's still not, it may not be right for you. And that's okay. You'll feel that, you'll know that. And this is also very empowering when you can feel into that. So I would love to know which parts of this video were the most helpful. And if there's any questions that you have, please leave in the comments below. And if there's any particular topics that you feel like you're really stuck on, I would love to know what that is. Have an amazing week.